If you're new, they're a great way to get practice refining your webinar presentation, offer, and messaging. Once you have 10 or so successful webinars under your belt, you'll be in great shape to start using paid traffic. The only downside of partnerships is they require manual work. You have to tailor your webinar to a slightly different audience each time and do the outreach to get the partnership in the first place. In the strictest sense, this does disqualify partnerships from being part of a true evergreen funnel. It'll take you a bit more than 5 hours per week to put together. But they're the best way to get started and still valuable after your funnel is in place. 2. Paid traffic. When we say paid traffic, we're mostly talking about Facebook ads. Sure, you can pay to advertise on Google or with other publishers, but in our experience, Facebook is the best place to advertise a coaching or online course business. Why? It gives you the cheapest traffic and leads. We'll show you the exact benchmarks you should be using below, but we've seen people spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and make $10,000 or more back on a regular basis. But we've also seen business owners and course creators spend $1,000 on Facebook and other social media ads and make less than $100 back. That's why it's not for beginners. You can win big, but you can also lose big if you don't know what you're doing. Even if you do know what you're doing, you'll need at least a few $1,000s to run tests while you figure out the right settings for your campaign. On the other hand, if you know that your webinar, emails, and other content can work for partnership campaigns, then you have a good chance of seeing a positive ROI when you turn on your ads. And once you've hit on a winning formula, you can keep Facebook ads going for months with just minor maintenance and ongoing tweaks. For this reason, Facebook advertising is where we tell all our students to start when they want to break out of partnership marketing and create a long-term evergreen funnel. 3. SEO optimized content. The last traffic source you can use to power an evergreen funnel is SEO optimized content. This is content that's written in a specific way so it shows up in Google when people are searching for relevant terms. For example, if you sell an accounting course, you could try to make your website show up whenever someone searches for small business accounting course. But this method takes a long time to produce a return on your investment. Even if you posted the world's best article tomorrow, Google probably won't show it for at least 3 months. And that's assuming you have a strong site to begin with. If you do it right, you can make a lot of money, but it's easy to spend a lot of time and money without any results. Plus, SEO optimized content rarely looks the same as the content you use in partnerships. So you won't be able to use many of the webinars, emails, or other content you created previously. You'll have to start from scratch. In short, just avoid SEO until you've exhausted social media ads and partnership marketing. Choose Facebook ads for your first evergreen funnel. Out of the 3 traffic sources we just reviewed, Facebook ads are the best choice for your first evergreen sales funnel. They're a natural second step if you've been working on partnership marketing, and a great way to add qualified leads into your funnel without paying an arm and a leg. Let's review how to set them up using our reverse Facebook ads framework. The first step when creating Facebook ads is to create the ad copy and creative, aka pictures or video. Like this. This first step is important because it's the entry point into your funnel. Get it right and you'll have traffic pouring in, but get it wrong and you'll tank your Facebook ad budget. Lucky for you, we have a framework for creating consistently high-performing ads without being an expert copywriter. We call it the reverse Facebook ad framework. You start by taking an existing piece of content that you know your audience loves and turn it into a Facebook ad and freebie or another lead magnet. Normally, we'd recommend using the most clicked email from previous email marketing efforts as a starting point. But this ad has to be relevant to your webinar specifically, so we'd recommend using the invitation email you sent to your house or partner list while working on partnerships. Here's one example to get you started. We wanted to create an ad for one of the posts here on Growth Tools. First, We looked into our email service provider and found our most successful email from the last 90 days in terms of click-through rate. That email promoted a blog with a big list of business ideas that people loved and clicked on. So we took the list and built a Google Sheet with links to each business idea to use as a lead magnet. Step 2. Create a landing page. If you worked in partnerships previously, this step should be close to complete. Just take the landing sales page you sent to your house or partner list to ask them to opt in for your webinar and make a few small tweaks to make it work for your evergreen funnel. Here's what you need to change. 1. Remove any dates from the page. 1. Attendees will be able to pick the time that works for them. 2. Hook up an automated webinar software, such as EverWebinar, so your attendees can pick the best time for them to view the automated recording. 3. Change the URL to the one you haven't used before so you can track the performance of the landing page in your evergreen funnel specifically. 4. Tweak the headline to match your ads. 4. It should be immediately clear that the landing page is a continuation of the message from your ads. 4. If you say attend a mac and cheese cooking class in the ad, your title should be about mac and cheese. Note, you may need to tweak the language in your intro a little bit, to provide more context for the webinar. Assume the reader has not read the whole ad before clicking to see your sales page, and that they don't know who you are. Does your intro copy still make sense? Want help creating an evergreen sales funnel for your business? Book a complimentary strategy session where we'll audit your business strategy and talk through a 90-day plan to skyrocket revenue. Step 3. Modify your existing webinar. In this step, you take a proven webinar or video training and adjust it to work in an evergreen sales funnel. The biggest change? Transitioning from a live audience to an on-demand recording. Everyone hates it when an ad and landing page promotes a live webinar, and it almost seems like it's live, except it's not. No one responds to the chat, comments seem automated, and the whole experience will feel just a bit off. Just make it clear that the webinar is recorded. This won't hurt your attendance, and in fact, your prospects will probably be grateful that you were honest and upfront. Fortunately, modifying your webinar to work with automation in an evergreen funnel is simple. In fact, it only takes 3 simple steps. If you have any sections in the webinar where you say something like drop a yes in the chat if you're excited, or ask for audience feedback, remove them. If you prompt your audience to visit a specific URL during the webinar, make sure you edit those sections so they direct the audience to new URLs. Even if you want to use the same content, create a fresh page with a new URL to track the traffic from your webinar. Next, record a short intro telling everyone that the webinar is recorded. Here's one of our templates you can. Then continue with the webinar as usual. You may need to re-record the webinar if it's too choppy after you make all the edits. But if you don't think you'll need too much editing, you can still use the previous recording. Step 4. Create a follow-up sequence. This is another step where you can reuse your existing follow-up email sequence from a previous webinar for your evergreen funnel. Typically you'll use 4 to 6 emails. Here's a sales sequence we've used with a short explanation of what to include in each email. Email number 1, Webinar Replay. Even with an automated system for your webinar, you should send a replay in your first email and make it available for a few days after the attendee's scheduled time. Email number 2, Pitch number 1. The purpose of this email is to remind people of everything included in your special webinar offer and encourage them to take advantage before the offer expires. Email number 3, Pitch number 2. This email focuses on the value subscribers could receive from purchasing your service or digital products. If possible, use a past success story here, or if you don't have one, simply focus on the benefits people can gain from your offer. Email number 4, Pitch number 3. This is the final post-webinar email you'll send to your email list. This message gives people one final reminder to take advantage of your offer before it expires. Step 5. Track your numbers and adjust. Once you've put in the work to set up your campaign, you're on the home stretch. You'll likely have to adjust your campaign soon after you launch it, but once everything is working well, you just have to maintain and optimize over time. When you're in the maintenance phase, you should be able to get great results in less than 5 hours per week. You just have to focus on the most important points in the funnel. If you follow the instructions in this blog, there are 3 numbers you should measure daily to keep track of your most important leverage points. 1. Cost per click. Cost per click, CPC, is simply the amount of money you have to pay for ads before someone clicks to view your sales page. This is important because it affects how many people come into your funnel. Even the best webinar and sales page won't do well if you're only sending 5 people to view them in the first place. If you're paying too much for clicks, you'll burn through your ad budget without anything to show for it. CPC is simple to measure. First, go to Facebook Business Manager and find your campaign. Depending on how you have it set up, you may be able to see the CPC listed in one of the default columns. If not, you can always edit your columns. Our view in Facebook Ad Manager. It's showing cost per lead, because we told it to, where the cost per click would be. The other option is looking at the amount of money spent on Facebook and the number of views on your landing page and then doing the math manually. Divide the amount spent by the number of clicks to get your CPC. How to improve your CPC? If your CPC is too high, you probably need better ad copy or creativity. Try creating 10 new ad variations and testing them until you find a better performer. Rinse and repeat as necessary. If that doesn't work, try adjusting your audience targeting. 2. Cost per registrant. Cost per registrant is the amount of money you pay in ad costs before someone opts in for your webinar. To calculate it, look at how much you've spent on a campaign over a period of time in Facebook Business Manager, say, the last 2 weeks, then divide that by the number of webinar registrations you've received in the same time period. How to improve your cost per registrant? If your CPC is within the acceptable ranges listed below, then your landing page is the reason you have a high CPC. There are a lot of different ways to make a landing page perform better, but you can start by adding testimonials or other social proof, making sure CTAs are clear or tweaking your headline. Sometimes, improving a landing page is as simple as making it shorter. One time, we had a lengthy landing page that was converting at 0.6%. We cut everything out except the simple above the fold section, and overnight, the page improved from 0.6% to 17%. Boom. Funnel fixed. Of course, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, so create 5 to 10 variations of your page and test them until you find a winner. 3. Cost per the desired action. At this point, you can probably guess what cost per means. Just look at how much you've spent on ads. In this case, the desired reaction is the final action you want your prospect to take after the webinar. The 2 most popular desired outcomes we've seen are booking a call or purchasing an online course. Again, just divide the amount spent in ads by the number of desired actions taken, and you have your metric. How to improve your cost per desired action. If your CPC and cost per registrant are acceptable, then your webinar is at fault for a high cost per desired action. Find problem areas by searching your webinar analytics and for points where attendees often leave the webinar. Try working on your delivery or messaging in that part of the webinar or find ways to make it more engaging. Then try re-recording and fixing that section. Evergreen funnel performance benchmarks. As you're reviewing the 3 most important metrics for your funnel, use the benchmarks below to make sure you're performing within a reasonable range. Over the last few years, we've hosted and coached clients on dozens of webinars. The benchmarks work for practically every evergreen funnel we've seen. Cost per click. B2B, $1-$1.50 max. B2C, 70 cents-$1 max. Landing page conversion rate. Look for a 15% conversion rate on your landing page, minimum. Cost per registrant. B2B webinars, $10 per registrant is good, under $8 is ideal. B2C webinars, $5 per registrant is good, under $3 is ideal. Webinar conversion rate. B2B book a call, at least 5% of webinar registrants. Or shoot for $100 to $200 per conversion. B2C book a call, at least 15% of registrants. Or shoot for $17 to $33 per conversion. Check your metrics against these benchmarks once a week, and you'll know if and where you need to work on your funnel. Use paid traffic to get started with your first evergreen sales funnel. Remember, creating evergreen sales funnels is not a beginner's marketing technique. If you're still trying to reach your first $10,000 a month, start with partnership marketing instead. When you're ready to build an evergreen sales funnel, just follow 5 simple steps. 1. Get traffic with a reverse Facebook ad framework. 2. Create a landing page that converts cold traffic to warm leads. 3. Modify your webinar to work with an evergreen sales funnel. 4. Create a follow-up sequence to sell your product. 5. Track your numbers and adjust.